After UOB and Qcoin when Binance. Hello, everybody. We have a fellow guardian of Cult DAO with us. Today we've got Kyle Chassé, who a lot of you will be familiar with, both as a marketing advisor for vEmpire itself, as well as an active participant in the Cult DAO community as well. So I might as well get him out right now. Hello, sir.
Howdy. What's going on, Dom?
How's it going? How's is it Singapore or is Thailand doing in Bangkok?
I'm in Bangkok right now. Yeah, at the Play to Earn Expo. We just get back from the opening party.
How was it?
It was good, Ben. It's very, very good. Yeah, met some good people. I knew this was going to be a small event, but I'm looking forward to it because it's a lot of people in the crypto gaming space here. It's a Play to Earn Expo, so yeah, it's good FaceTime. Got a lot of people from Binance and YDG and Crypto.com and stuff like that. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I got 2 panels tomorrow. When I'm moderating, when I'm participating on fun topics. Right, it's Play to Earn sustainable.
Let's see what that not a proven use yet. Is that has anyone done that yet?
No, I don't think so. So we'll see what they have to say about that tomorrow. And the next one is guilds and what purpose do guilds serve? In the crypto gaming space, and this will be interesting too, since the Play to Earn model is quite broken. Like, what are guilds going to do now, and how are they pivoting? So I'm looking forward to the discussions.
Yeah, fair enough. Finally, saying that. Oh, and thanks for joining us so late. It's almost midnight there, isn't it?
Yeah, it's 11. It's all good.
Fair enough. Yeah, I mean, we actually had to. Well, we didn't have to, but we decided to take the decision at vEmpire to close our Axie AXS staking pool for the reason that whenever we are emitting and paying a yield, it's obviously coming from our emission schedule, and there just wasn't the same urgency and the same point in paying inflation to a pool where the returns from our scholars were no longer enough to pay sort of a decent secondary and third yield, because the price of SLP is dropped from the tens of cents at one stage all the way down to half a cent. So the scholars themselves, they weren't wanting to play the game as much, because obviously it wasn't good for them. It isn't like the most fun game to play, so obviously earning is the whole incentive. So I mean, the good thing is we can obviously start the strategy again whenever we like, just by literally sending the tokens to that pool. But it just, there's a lot of work to be done. Certainly. That's why we've got machinations.
Yeah.
You had to play around with that model since, didn't you?
I haven't had a chance to yet, because I opened it up and immediately just had an anxiety from like, what do I do from here? So yeah. So I did send it off to some of my team, to let them have a play around with it. Yeah, it's looks like a very powerful model, but with all powerful models require a lot of effort and time to figure out how to work them and how to use them properly.
Forecasting is only as good as the data that you input.
Yeah,
I think that's definitely a quote from someone, but I can't remember who. Someone cleverer than me, anyway. On the subject of Cult, I actually thought this just before we began. So you first covered Cult in your top 5 Degen picks, which I'm very interested to know how the other 4 went. Do you remember what they were? Because I have no idea. This isn't like me trying to put you on the spot. And let's note that having one of them go 200x would make up for any drop in the others. But I can't remember which ones they were. So I'd be interested if you can think of them off the top of your head.
I don't remember what they were, man, because everything just seems so irrelevant after that. Yeah, I don't remember what they were, honestly. But it was probably something along the lines of what I still like. It was probably something like ShopX, and I don't know. They were. I don't remember. But it's probably something similar to the recent top 5 I had, except for I threw in White under that top 5. I threw in Colt and Revolt, although the Revolt sound got messed up. And what else did I do? I did cornucopias, because eventually, if Cardano ever ships, that to be the metaverse and the Unreal Engine 5 game that is like the furthest along on Cardano, I think will be the equivalent of a Decentraland or a Sandbox, right? And it's so much better than those, like exponentially, as far as the graphics and the gameplay and just the economics, from what I can tell. So yeah, I got Cornucopias because I think eventually Cardano will ship a main net, and when they do, that ecosystem will go crazy. And so to be as low as the market cap as it is right now, and to be the leading metaverse and game on that ecosystem, it's got value there. I don't remember the other one that I picked at the moment, but I'll figure it out later. It's something.
Yeah, to be fair, I remember looking at that Cardano, and I think you flagged it before. Is that the one? It's sort of or maybe it's because like these things all just merge into one in my head. But is it sort of like Farmville style?
Like what?
Like Farmville, if you know, it was like an old,
so
that sort of style. Yeah, it is the one I'm thinking of then.
Yeah, that's kind of the all the initial trailers were that style, but then you can go into all kinds of different environments, right? So they're going to create like so it won't just be like that style, although that's kind of where you start out, and you can build. Yeah, that's the first trailers were all about that. Then you realize that they've got so much more up their sleeve. You go into like deserts or future environments, and you fly around in these like futuristic cars, and everyone gets their little island bubble to build on initially, and then you can like it's very cool, very impressive what they're doing. I was surprised that they chose Cardano to go on to, but like I said, that's like there's going to be in each layer one, there's going to be those, there's going to be that Uniswap, there's going to be that Sandbox, there's going to be that, the Aave, and there's going to that's going to exist on those layer ones. And Cardano does have a very engaged, fan base. And so it's going to take off if Cardano does.
They all have the flagship. I mean, look at Star Atlas, Solana. That is like, I don't want to say the one and only because that's probably shitting on all of the others, which I know there are multiple. But when you think of Star Atlas, you think of Solana, and vice versa. It was very much a flagship launch. I mean, I'm not familiar enough with Cardano ecosystem. I should. I mean, well, technically we don't have it on the staking platform, so I can get sort of some leeway there. But as and when it is up and coming, then by all means, as soon as there is stuff to add on that side, we'll definitely be looking at it. What is left to do to get that fully operational? Because I am not.
No idea. No idea. So I have a research team, especially for my YouTube channel and for videos that we do. And so it's nice when I get to make videos on different layer ones or things that, I get to learn about them. And so we have essentially the research done for Cardano. So we will make a video on it probably soon, within the next 2 weeks or something like that. And then I'll learn more about it, because I have questions too. Admittedly, like, we can only keep track of so many different things and actually understand how they work. And Cardano is something that, you can only really understand. And that's one of the things too that I've actually, focused on recently, is because it's really trying to consolidate my portfolio and the things that I pay attention to, because I have I've got different coins that I've bought. I go back to Etherscan and I haven't moved them in 900 days or something like that. And it's like, and what happens when you do this is like, you would think that the project would be grateful that, hey, like this guy invested into us in the private sale, whatever, and he hasn't touched his tokens since he got them. And you would think that they would appreciate that. But sometimes, like, because what they'll do is they'll end up doing like a token swap, right, or whatever, and they'll give you, I don't know why they do this, but they'll give you a certain period of time to swap your token for theirs, and they'll say like, oh, if you don't do it within a year, you're out of luck. And I've been in a couple situations now where I have been that person who didn't know about it because I just, had too much shit going on. And I talk to them, and I'm like, hey, like Ampleforth, for example, like Ampleforth, they had their fourth governance token. And I reached out to them the other day. I'm like, hey, like I've literally have not sold a token since I got them, and was in your private sale. And the guy just like super generic, just like, sorry, one of your claim period's over. No dice, like, and that was kind of shitty. And then like PoonDX too, I got them like back in 2016 or something like that. Also token swap, also told me like, sorry, out of luck, nothing we can do. I'm like, this is kind of fucked up, because they know that they got tokens in the reserve that they could, for one person who's been a long-term supporter, that you would think that they would just be like, yeah, I mean, if someone came to me and did have that story, I would be like, here you go for sure. Thanks for supporting us. But I guess not everyone's like that. So anyway, long story short, I decided to consolidate and pay more attention to, to what's reasonable to pay attention to.
Yeah.
So I don't know about Cardano, but I do, but I do know about Colt, right? And then this is something that I'm very excited about. And I don't think people have really fully understood just how powerful it is. And we've been building something similar to Colt in a way. Like it has a lot of the similar aspects, but different. And I talked to Mr. Amodulus, like Mr. O, about our project, sent him the economics, but it's been nice to also really dive deep into the simple yet effective economic model that he's created, and take a lot of inspiration from that and incorporate into what we're doing as well, in multiple different things, right? And for paid network, I'm taking inspiration and implementing, and also this kind of stealth project that we've been building for almost a year now that I can't talk about.
Fair enough. Yeah, it's I always say, literally, whenever I'm talking about Colt and the tokenomics, I always say it's one of those concepts that is like almost too simple, that you don't think of it at first, because the reason why it's effective is because it sends the investment in the token itself, which means it also burns the token itself. But most people wouldn't think to do that, because if you're sending the investment in your native token, then people will be short term and they'll immediately just think, oh, that's going to be sell pressure,
Yeah.
which of course they're right. But what they don't realize is that 90% of the projects, 95% of the projects that are put up through Colt, the team is actively in the Discord, and you don't have control over whether they sell or not, but usually you can just come to an agreement and get them to do it on an exchange. Some I've done recently with Jeff, where I've used my market makers to make sure there's no sell pressure whatsoever.
I'd rather them not sell on exchange. I'd rather them just sell on the open market and get over with. People are always looking for dips, right? To get to buy in lower, like to buy the dip. And like, it's inevitable that like, we don't have to care, in my opinion, so much about short-term price, because we know where it's going in the long run. And we also know that like, in order for like those tokens that are going to be sold by the project, first they were purchased, right? They were purchased. And so it always balances itself out. And then we also know that when the project tokens come back to us, that they're going to be sold for Colt as well. Also I want them, like when Mandala Exchange, when they dumped their entire bag, what was that, 200 ETH or 20, like whatever it was, I was just thankful that they did it on DEX, right? Like, thank you for doing it on a DEX and not going to centralized exchange to sell these tokens. At least we got the tax for it. And that's the idea, is to keep the economic machine going, right? Like, I don't care, transact, sell, buy, I don't care. It's transfer, whatever, stake, tax.
Not everyone's as sensible as us, though. You know, the rest of the crypto market doesn't necessarily think about. It's one of the protocols that's, as I say, the reason it's so clever is because it does focus completely on long term. Like, honestly, like all you need to do, as long as the volume is somewhat maintained, like it is literally just not financial advice, just a waiting game. All you need to do is hold and not get scared, and like that is it. But everybody is always focused just on short term.
Hold and stake. This is what the amazing part about it, because like right now, people don't understand the value of staking, because you're getting 50% of the returns from the revenue that's generated through the investments. 50% of those are burnt, right? They buy 100% of the tokens buy Colts, and 50% of those are burnt. So 100% of that 50% is distributed to deColt, right? And so all the Colt stakers. So you're getting, and so that, while that doesn't seem like a whole lot right now, because the value of Colt isn't so much, and because we're splitting that up, and because we're only investing, let's say 13 ETH worth of 13 ETH. So right now it's like, like $20,000 or whatever. So yeah, you invest $20,000 and it does a 5x, distributed over investing periods. That's not a lot, but imagine when the value of ETH is $20,000, and we're investing 13 ETH into a project that we're investing, $250,000, and that thing does in a bull market, a 50x or whatever. And now we're talking about massive distributions of profit, and you're getting that, in Cult, just by staking. And so, it's you can compound your earnings, and that turns into more value, more earnings over time. And that's what I want to make a video on too soon. Is I don't know, it dawned on me like 3 or 4 weeks ago. Also the beauty of keeping the investment pegged to a volatile token that we expect to appreciate over time, like ETH, because you could have just pegged it. You could have just said we're investing $25,000 in a project pegged to USD, right? And then it wouldn't scale as nice as it does with the ETH peg. So I think that's something that obviously I had to understand over time too.
Yeah, that's the organic. Because funnily enough, I saw somebody post. I can't remember who it was, but I remember reading a Twitter post and thinking that's stupid, because it was someone saying like organic yield is the new thing in crypto, and I thought it's not a new thing. It's just people realizing that most DeFi is just Ponzi. But it was acting like this crazy concept of actually generating revenue and redistributing it. Saying like 2022 is going to be the year of real yield. It's like, well, it's literally a normal thing in every traditional finance, but there we are. And that is the point, is that there's no inflation. Everything is organic, bought back from the market, and then sent. I mean, even if the model that I ran with Machinations had it going to insane levels, even with it programmed that every investment didn't produce a return. So that was just from the burns when it sent 2.5 ETH worth. But because it is pegged to ETH, the cleverest part is that if ETH increases in value, or on the other end, Cult decreases against ETH, then automatically more Cult is burnt, because there is more Cult for your per ETH. So it's like an organic rebasing, as well as the fact that it's real yield. Even if I'm on the staking app now, because I just typed it in there when you were chatting, but they've sent 1040 ETH. So if it's just 1 for 1, if they break even, that's 1040 ETH of buyback. So let's see what that is if I type it into Uniswap right now, and see what 1040 ETH, how many billions that buys, and what the price impact would be just if it was.
What is your scenario right now? What is the 1040 ETH? Where does that come from?
So that's how much has been sent out by Cult as a protocol. So if you go
from the treasury.
So if you go onto the staking app.cultdao.io, it's got treasury balance 460 ETH, and then underneath that it's got total funds sent. So that's all the ETH sent out. So if 1040 is just bought back, which is breaking even, that's 1.9 million USD right now, and that would have a 40% immediate price impact. And of course, that's like having that only buys you 1.17 million, because obviously the slippage from buying that sort of amount is crazy. But that's 80 billion immediately taken from Uniswap, and Uniswap only has like just over 200 billion in it right now anyway. So that's like halving the value, leaving like 120 billion in Uniswap for everybody else. So insane, especially if a few of them do multiples, like every like 1x in crypto, which obviously, it's not normal finance, but for a VC fund over like however many, 1040 divided by 13, it's got to be like 90 proposals or something. If they do 1x, that's 2080. If they do 200%, that's 4,160. Like I don't think people comprehend that everything that's been seen so far is purely just, we haven't had any returns sent back. Like I'm staked, and the rewards aren't much at the moment, but that's because there's so many people staked. And it's like with any VC, whenever we invest, like the amount of protocols that push their TGE, there's protocols like in January or last year that vEmpire invested in, which still haven't launched their token yet. So I think it's called patient capital. So there's going to be so much buy pressure coming back later down the line, and once that stream is like switched on, then it's just going to be constant. Every week buybacks, burns. So yeah, there's definitely a lot that people haven't comprehended yet. But yeah, that's the beauty of it. It means that people like us can get in early and buy more when it's lower. Because getting your head around the economics of it will definitely put you ahead.
And it's still very early because again, it's just a machine. And I think one of the most interesting thing is is the fact that the Treasury acts as it temporarily removes supply, right? Circulating supply. And from what we've typically seen so far, if you look at what's the analytics that we all Dune analytics, right? You can see that there's usually way more coal removed from circulation from the Treasury than there is from the burn. And so so it continues to fill up and remove coal from circulation faster than we usually deploy it. That's the point. So it's going to continue to fill up usually faster than we can deploy. And so that also has another mechanic that isn't the burn that reduces circulating supply that we're not really usually taking into consideration. And I think, I guess, that's something that is also very interesting, that I have to do these numbers too on like before I make my video about it, because I haven't quite figured out when ETH is $20,000 and we're pulling $250,000 of Colt out of the Treasury for an investment. I guess if the Colt price stays relative appreciation to ETH, then it's the same amount of Colt being removed from Treasury, right? But if it's if ETH price goes up way higher, then it would be pulling way more Colt out of Treasury per investment than it would, and that would probably, then we might have trouble filling up the Treasury. But I don't expect that to happen. I'm sure that just like all alts, it'll probably outperform ETH, and then you have it filling up quite fast. I have a question. I have a question for you. Do you think that if Mr. O had thought about Revolt before he rescinded the ownership of the Colt contract, he would have still made a 2-token system? Or do you think that because he rescinded it, that was the best way to implement it? Like, if he could do it all over again, would he build the economic model and the Revolt system into a 1-token model?
I think it was mostly down to cost. I guess what you mean is like basically allowing for like smaller tickets in the Colt model.
No, I mean the fact that it sounded like from communication that Mr. O had the idea for a Revolt, just maybe a couple of months before it actually launched, meaning that the ownership rights of the Colt contract were already rescinded by the time. So there's nothing he could do about it, right? You can't change the mechanics of the Colt token anymore. So you had no opportunity to amend the economics, right, or the mechanics of Colts. So mostly I've always thought that a single token model per ecosystem is going to be better than a dual token model, but I haven't thought about it, right? And so I asked him the question. I haven't got a response yet, and I'm curious to know if he could have done it all over again. Would he have built the reward model for talking about Colts into the Colt token itself, or would he have also created a 2-token model? And I'm curious. What do you think?
I guess it depends on the aim, because there's going to be positives and negatives for both, I guess. Obviously, cost is one of them. But the other is whether the taxation element of having such a small percentage works on a split revenue model. Because if it's 0.4% and you're putting it into two pots, obviously you're halving everything. And then there would be the rate that it's sent out. And that would all differentiate. I'd have to think about it in more detail, to be honest. And it depends on the purpose. I don't know. I think from what I've read, it was a response to sort of rewarding efforts. But yeah, interesting question. Let us know when you hear back. Anyway,
I'm curious because revolt is a good idea, right? We have to, like, obviously Cult is a very engaged, very engaged community, and like I proved it, right? So in this bear market, my average tweet on Twitter is getting maybe, between like 30 to, on a really good tweet, maybe I'm getting 90 or 100 likes. But we made a tweet the other day. It said like, rumors have it Cult has the most engaged, or like the best community in crypto, like prove it, and I got over like 1,000 likes on that tweet or something like that. So it's a, obviously very engaged community, and that's organic, right? That's the first rule of the manifesto, and people love to do it. And that's part of the beauty of everything, is the branding around it, and the manifesto and everything like that. And then obviously the ties to Ryoshi initially, whether Mr. O is or isn't, it doesn't really matter. But that's really what kicked off the speculation, which was a genius move on the marketing end initially. But what I would like to know, because the economics are everything around this model, and so is the 2 token model the best for rewarding people in a DAO, for example? And I'm gonna have to figure that out if he doesn't respond.
Is it a 2 token model? Is there more coming? Because there's a lot of speculation on that as well. It does seem, I don't know, a 2 token model makes sense in the way that they haven't just called it Revolt. It's called Revolt to Earn. I presume why is because it's like Revolt is like the SLP, but with a much better economy in terms of the burn rate. So is it the end? Is that the play, that it's a secondary token because these to earn games have a secondary token, and he's tried to do it in a way that's much more efficient? Or is there a third element that nobody is taking into account, which could, knowing what's happened so far, could easily be the case? But yeah, just interesting speculation, isn't it?
Yeah.
I was going to say something, but I can't remember. Go ahead.
So anyone watching this, one of the things that so Dom sends me a lot of brand new tokens just minted off the Etherscan hot contract, and one of the things that and there's been some really good stuff that I'm really excited about, and there's been a lot of shit. But one of the funny things that I realized is that the NFT market, right? The NFT thing that before everything kind of corrected was like nobody actually cared about NFTs. It was just the biggest Ponzi, biggest Ponzi game ever, right? It was like nobody actually intended to hold these. And if they were just straight deceived by everyone else who was saying but it was a flipping game. And it seems like what's funny is I didn't really know that it existed in there are people as Degen in the fungible token world too. And yeah, I mean, I was just ignorant to think about it, because every time you go to Dex Tools, it just the top 10 are always just like, I think the trending one a couple of days ago was just called shit, and it's like and so it's interesting to think that to know that this world exists. I didn't even know about it, man. I didn't even know about it.
Oh, you won't believe. I didn't know about it either. I got sucked into it, like how I'm sucking you into it, and then other people were brought into my force field of just degen shit coins. But like, it's like the thing is, it's very hit and miss, and I try and make it clear. I don't send it to anyone. Usually, I send it to people who are conscious enough to know that it's their own decision, and that, you know, it's up to them to do it. And I'm not, you know, giving them the tip. But you know, that's where a lot of these come from. There is I'd like to think I find the gems more than most people in these degen ones, like with Colt and well, Colt, obviously I had the heads up beforehand, so I can't take full credit on that one. But like White, for example. But yeah, no, there is a whole like underground economy of these meme coins. Like some of them is you know, some of them are just the pure, like the NFTs. You know, some of them are literally insiders are ready and waiting to get out. So there's very much selection in terms of picking who you listen to. But like, there's all these cool channels, and some people have got such bad reps. Other ones have got really good ones. Honestly, like I always think it would sell so well if somebody made a movie of, I am going to start this like token, and use all the tricks in the book, like just show the process from like, I'm going to get all the cool channels, I'm going to pay for trending on here, and you just, and literally show how, well, firstly, you need to have the knowledge to do it, but how to get a token with no utility whatsoever, literally from 0 to like 10 mil market cap. And if you could film that whole process, like, it would blow up amongst crypto anyway. Because yeah, some of the stuff that goes on, you won't believe. But yeah, this is the joys of a new emerging industry. Is you've got these like back alleys where you find this stuff, and it's like, what is going on?
Yeah, you're in the space long enough, and when you're even looking for it, it comes to you, right? Like people, you know, all say, hey, you want your token to trend anywhere? Okay, like. And they'll do it. This guy in the chat, Bear Market 2022 Survivor, asked like, you know, basically, what are we looking out for when we're degen shitcoining? And I think like that's a different answer for, I guess, how much time you have. And like if I wasn't busy doing what I'm doing right now, which is like, you know, working on multiple projects and advising and investing and like, you know, already working and already working 16, you know, plus hours a day and not having enough time in the day, I would probably be very much enjoying shitcoining. And I think the answer to that would be like, it's like I think Russians are very familiar with it, because I met this Russian guy in Germany. He's just told me, he's like, yeah, check out this Ponzi scheme. And I'm like, what? You know, it's a Ponzi scheme. You're still investing? He's like, yeah, but like, I just get out. You know, you just got to get out before everyone else does. And like, they all know it is. Right? They all know it's a Ponzi scheme, but it's like a game. It's like that crash game where, you know, you know that it's going to crash sooner or later, but how greedy do you get? Right? And that's kind of, I feel like, what it is. And if I had time and I didn't have a job, that's all I would do. I would just go throw in like, you know, like 10, 20, 30, 40, $50, because the thing is, you can get into these things when they're at a $5,000 market cap, right? Fully diluted or something like that. And then, you know, if you get out at $100,000 market cap, you did a 20x, right? And if you throw in, you know, $100, well, you just made $2,000. That's a fucking good day's work, you know. Like, so I would definitely be doing that. But so the answer to the question for me right now is, I'm definitely looking at these things, and I have a very quick. I've discovered a very quick checklist for my what do you call it? Your shitcoin, degen shitcoining. So me, I'm going to assume all of these things are have bad intent, and then I'm going to take it from there. And so I'm going to look for things that protect me for someone like me who doesn't have as much time to keep an eye on it. I'm going to look for things like, is liquidity locked, right? And if so, how long is it locked for? And if it's locked for like, you know, 1 day or 5 days or 20 days, I'm pretty much assuming that that's going to be like the person's intending to pull the liquidity as soon as he can. So I'm looking for things like liquidity locked for a period of time to where I don't have to come back and look at that thing for a while. And then I'm looking for things like, some type of effort that's put into this thing. Like a lot of times, I don't know, there's something that was going on recently that was on Copper launch, and someone's like, yeah, there's like 20 of the Colts, like, you know, early Colts people in there. And I'm like, what is this thing? And they're like, it's nothing. There's no website. There's nothing there. So I'm gonna look for something that shows effort, right? Like I want to know that there's a website built. Hopefully there's a GitHub put up, and there's a maybe like, so I'll tell you like why I went to white and why I decided to talk about it publicly, because liquidity was locked for, I think, at least 1 year on that, or maybe it's 2 years, but at least a year liquidity was locked. So that's a good sign. So the rug pulls up possible. 2, the website looked decent enough with a legit roadmap. 3, the developers and the team were very responsive and engaged and seemed genuine enough. Of course, like they could always not be, right? And that's fine. And 4, I bought in a pretty small amount at a very small market cap, $150,000 or whatever it was. But I didn't talk about it to anybody until I was able to try the MVP and test that it worked. And as soon as I did that, I said, okay, like this still could very well be a rug pull, but at this point, it's such a low market cap. The risk to reward ratio is pretty favorable at this point, And so that's kind of my checklist when I'm looking at these things. And someone like me who has this much time, it only takes me for a lot of these things to 10, 15 minutes to go and do this initial due diligence. And then if there's an MVP coming around the corner or something, I could try that. That to me, that's enough if you got a low market cap. But I guess Dom, you can answer the same question. What do you look for?
Well, yeah. Well, even if you remember why, I know plenty of people who I gave that tip to, who sent me a screenshot like the day or two after, and because you're in this, this flipping and shitcoiny world, people have rules, and one of mine is always that no matter what the project, no matter what my confidence or lack of confidence in it, as soon as I've seen 100%, I sell half of it and I just take my money and run. Because then if it does rug, at least I break even. And the rest I just leave in there, dust or moon. So that is the one rule I always stick to. But
that's a good rule, yeah.
I think when I sent White to you, it was around 150, 250 market cap, and it went all the way down to 50 because everyone just 50. Did what I did, because I know that you were really annoyed that you forgot to buy in again at 50. But yeah, you can't, just because something goes down significantly from launch price doesn't even mean that it's over. Right. But yeah, with these tokens, like some of them instantly spike, go down dead, but ones like White, it's not over until you can actually confirm in the socials and everything that someone's like done a runner. But yeah, there's so many different opportunities out there. Yeah, I hate that people keep saying I look like Andrew Tate. It's really, really getting grinding on me. Because it's like my wife has this thing now that any bald person with a beard, she says, "Oh look, your twin," and it really annoys me. No matter what they look like, if they're bald with a beard, it's my twin, and that goes for Andrew Tate as well. Jake again said hello, Jake. Not sure if he's still on. VEMP's plans for the USDC pool. Yes, we are going to be announcing that, and we are. I can't remember. I think we're going to be putting it to a vote to change it to BUSD. Because I don't want anyone's fund to be frozen. Yeah, BUSD is centralized, but the actual exchange itself, if there's been anything dodgy going on in it, it's the exchange itself that should be held liable, rather than it just being into contact with anything else. So the plan is to put it to a vote as to whether we change it to BUSD. We're presuming that will be passed, so we started building it already, mainly because it's what we stand for in terms of decentralization and supporting that. So our community will most likely change that. So yeah, USDC, we are going to be amending that, but for now we're still paying yield to the pool, so there's no need to change yet, and we'll make sure that we announce anything if and when it does. We're not going to catch anybody offside.
So Dom, how does someone, like if someone's watching this, how do they go and if they want to get into this this shitcoin game, how does one how does one discover them? Like, how do they get it? Like, how do they find them? I wouldn't know. I don't even know how do you know? Is there bots or something that can like send you a notification on Telegram when a new contract is deployed?
Well, I don't even. There's a deeper level of Degen than even me. Would you believe it? There were people. Funnily enough, one of the guy who got me more deep into it. I found him, and like from basically me and him were sharing tips into this VC chat we had. It's like 200 VCs. And then we got told off for sharing like Degen calls and shitcoins in this VC chat. And then, funnily enough, I said, some of these are doing really well, so I still want to get these tips. So let's create a new chat. Rather than VCX, we called it DegenX. So essentially, it was this other VC who got me into it because we wanted to still share these tips, because in a bear market, everyone is pushing their token generation event, their TGE out. So, you're not writing as many large tickets and you're not getting that cash flow back. So you've got some spare capital in order to do these plays where you're looking for a quick, 20, 50x going in at such low market cap. So funnily enough, and I made this group, and even the people who'd said, let's not share these in here, joined the Degen chat, because they were only like doing it for face. They know full well that they want to know if there's like, who can say no to like a 50K going to like 5 million? Like nobody can. So they all joined straight away, like literally got half the people in the VC group in. But yeah, this guy, there's even these bots, like sniper bots, where you can pick like a wallet. So for example, somebody right now could have a bot which instantly buys whatever me and your wallet were to buy. Whether that's because they can see vEmpire deployer or they know your wallet for some other reason. And as soon as either of us were to buy something, and they do it on some of these cool channel owners' wallets, because for example, there's one that I always see, this guy called Joe Grower 420. And I first heard of him because he shows up in the top 50 stakers of Cult, and he was quite early to Cult. And then he bought this other token called like Suka, which is again like one of these like, I'm apparently started by Ryoshi, so now I'm suddenly worth 50 million market cap, but I've got fuck all. So now people will, because it says on Etherscan, Joe Grower 420, people set bots, and then when he buys something, they will buy it. Because with these cool channels, obviously, they buy and then they put the call out, because, you're pretty much guaranteed with these cool channels. No one's waiting until they've shared it with their community to give them a chance to buy first. They're always going to buy, then send it. So if they put a bot on to buy it when they buy it, then they know that they're getting in before the call goes out. So all of these tricks, but all these people will have the doxed wallet, and then they'll have their sneaky one. Like I think I've got like 20 wallets attached to like my MetaMask now, like just because I'm constantly think like trying to like change it, because I get messages from people saying if the vEmpire deployer buys something, within 2 minutes, somebody's messaged me and asked for my opinion on what I've just bought, because they've seen I bought it. And on Dex Tools, you can actually track wallets, and it gives you alerts. So the tools that people have nowadays for the pure reason of going for Degen 20Xs, getting in as early as possible, is crazy. And in fact, a lot of these tokens now, that none of them ever renounce their contracts. And the reason why is because all these bots just fill up the token launch as soon as it's done, amalgamate. And then if you've got a token at 5 million market cap and you've had like 50 bots come in, if they all sell at once, then it instantly tanks by like 50%. And then everyone screams scam, and it can absolutely destroy your token. So people keep the blacklist function to make sure that when they launch, you can kill everyone who's botted it. Just kill it straight off. So there's risk to rewards and everything. Like honestly, like the it's like a psychological game of like, how can I play this before somebody plays me? And that's why it sucks you in, because it's high risk, high reward, and you're always like battling somebody else to make sure that you are not the exit liquidity.
Yeah. So okay, so I'm fairly new to this. Let's say that I wanted to do the same game that you are. What do you look for? Like, when do you consider yourself too late? Like, is it $100,000 market cap you're too late? Is it $200,000 market cap you're too late? What is your kind of rule on this? Like, when is it that you don't give a shit? Like, you haven't even looked for any signs of legitimacy, but if it's a $15,000 market cap, you're going to buy it no matter what, and then exit at 30. What is the number that you think is like too late? Is what I would like to know.
I mean, yeah, these are purely for Degen picks where it's like a stealth launch. Obviously, if I'm buying a legitimate project that's still a pre-sale and they're launching at like 5 million market cap, I don't think twice. But if it's a proper Degen pick and it's stealth launch, etc., unless there is a really, really, really good story to it, and I'm super bullish, which is like 5% at a push, then I don't usually ever buy beyond 250k market cap, which seems like crazy. But sometimes the X's are gone with these plays, and if somebody is sending it at like 250, 500, more than likely they are just looking for their own exit liquidity. Unless it's really, really good, then I won't go over 500 really ever, which seems like people probably watch this thinking, Jesus, what sort of plays are you doing with these Degen picks? But yeah, I mean, there's a lot of, by the way, for anyone watching from vEmpire, this is completely separate to our staking strategies. We're not using the ETH in order to flip Degen calls. This is segregated, hence why you won't see vEmpire deployer ever getting involved in any of these.
There's a good question. There's a good question here, Dom. So what is a honeypot, and how do you prevent? How do you make sure that you don't get honeypotted?
So there is Telegram bots that you can add to a chat. So I'm in multiple of these conversations, and in fact, I think there's a bot on Telegram called Honeypot Bot, and if you add it, all you have to do is you paste any Dex Tools link or any contract address into the chat. It will tell you if it's a honeypot, because it will like do a transaction of nothing to it, and it will be able to tell if it says transaction reverted, and it actually says in bright red, honeypot run the FOA. By the way, after my Andrew Tate comment, I was very much pleased to see someone say, I didn't know that Brock Lesnar had moved on to crypto.
What is a honeypot, Dom?
A honeypot, it changes the subject back there. So a honeypot is where you buy and you cannot sell. So basically it's like when flies go into a pot of honey and they get stuck, which is where the whole thing comes from. But yeah, I've been honeypotted before, and it's not nice.
Me too. It was a Disney one, and someone used so someone from, I won't say where he's from. If he's watching, he probably knows, and some people in here probably know. But he said he has been watching the wallets from Alameda and FTX, stuff like that, because you can label these wallets right on Etherscan, and so he's like said, oh, I've been tracking these at like Disney's launch, and it's been like Alameda's buying in and da-da-da's buying in, and yeah, it was a straight honeypot, man. You couldn't sell. I still have $560,000 worth of this token in my wallet, right? But like, yeah, no exit scanning.
See, I think I see those sent all the time. It's spoofing. I don't know like why it's not done, but Etherscan should flag like, because spoofing is basically you build a transaction that effectively like sends it via another wallet, and then it shows up I think it's got like a star next to it now, like a little asterisk, but like it happens all the time. Literally, I think I got done once when Andre Conge from I don't know if you pronounce like that, from FTM and like
Kanye or whatever.
Yeah, I got done for like his new Solidly project. And the thing is, I sent it to my brother as a tip, and he like chucked an ETH into it, and he still hasn't let it go to this day. But it happens to everyone, and now I make sure, like it even happened to another sort of vEmpire person, like and they get you by making you FOMO in, and that's what they do. That's why they pick like projects that people know are coming but haven't launched, or like stuff like Disney or Apple. Like if I look at my wallet, like there's tons of dust which is named like, you know, Disney, like Bored Ape, etc. You FOMO in without thinking, and then you realize when it's too late.
So is that, so this is how, so maybe the wallets that were labeled Alameda, for example, are you saying that was actually Alameda's wallet, but someone else was able to buy the tokens and send it to them?
Yeah, so it's called spoofing, and if you type in, anyone watching, if you type in spoofing Etherscan, I don't know the exact mechanism, but effectively, I don't know how it works. It'd be interesting to see if you can find it. But the transaction appears to the normal user as
I know you do it.
Alameda.
I know you do it. If you go and trade on I can go trade on I think on like 1inch or whatever else, and it says, do you want to send these tokens to another address, right? And so I think that you could let's see, no, that wouldn't work. Yeah, I don't know. I want to look it up.
I think yeah, because I guess you were thinking that could be how you send it, but then how do you send it out? I think that it's honestly something where it's something so simple. Spoofing.
Oh no, you don't need to send it out. They just need to receive it, right? So if I buy this shit coin and I send it to, right, vEmpire's deployer, then it looks like you bought it, right?
Yeah, here we are. I found something here.
Yeah, so that's it. So I can buy this scam coin and have it sent to your wallet, and then it looks like you bought it because it shows it depositing into your wallet.
Yeah, it's there's one here. You create a token smart contract, and then in the transfer or transfer from event, which is like a code that you can write in Solidity, you list a random address. And usually, so effectively, you write a smart contract, and then you type in the wallet you want to have it transfer or transfer from. And then when you deploy the smart contract, it will show as coming from the address that you put in transfer or transfer from. So basically, people will then buy because they've seen it as coming from X address, when in reality, you just built the smart contract, which is why when you click on these transactions properly, you can see the transaction was created by, and then it says the transaction came from. So effectively, yeah, you write a smart contract and you just input exactly who you want to pretend it's come from. And I remember getting, I think like I've got so many, they obviously targeted like Guardian wallets, but I had like 5 Revolt tokens sent to me on Etherscan. It wasn't even going to be launched on Ethereum, but obviously scammers aren't going to look into it that much. But I was sent so many different Revolts before the airdrop, because again, they want people to FOMO in, and they do a really good job of it.
Yeah,
to be honest.
And then also like I think it was Ka, right? Ka, like that was all from the Shiba deployer, and that was good enough to send it to what, like a $80 million market cap or something, right? With zero, with nothing. There was nothing besides a Shiba deployer, and all of a sudden, that was it. People get very creative with this Etherscan spoofing.
Yeah, but I mean, it works because people do FOMO in. They don't think, and they just go straight in. And it happens to the best of us until you get burnt, and then you learn. Once it happens to you, you're a lot less trusting of anything. But yeah, a lot of people will just honestly think like a project has scammed them. Like they won't ever think that Etherscan has that option. They won't believe that spoofing is a thing, and they'll literally go to the grave thinking that they got scammed by the Shiba Inu deployer. Like the Shiba Inu deployer was like really wanted their like half an ETH.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, this sort of education gap is just what really needs to be fixed in crypto, because yeah, it happens to everyone.
Well, if you're watching this, make sure you guys share it with everybody, because I think this is, I learned a lot on this one, and I still have a lot more to learn. And it sounds like everyone out here in this chat watching this right now has been honeypotted and fallen for all this before. We all do. And just so expect if you're watching this and you decide to go to this Degen shitcoining world, that you're going to make mistakes, you're going to lose money, and you know, I know it sounds like a cop out, but just make sure that you never invest more than you're willing to lose. And it's a gambling shitcoin game, and it can be very lucrative, just like flipping NFTs could have been. But everyone has to understand, like you said, Dom, like it's a psychological game of making sure that you're not someone else's exit liquidity, and that's it. That's the 100%.
To be fair, I can't take credit for my rule of selling after a 100% increase. I've got to give that to B Roots. That's his rule. I just took it on as my own. So credit where credit's due. But yeah, thanks so much for joining, everybody. And yeah, Kyle, thanks for joining. I know it's going to be literally midnight now where you are. But yeah, thank you so much, everyone. Everyone from Colt is tuned in. I can literally see tons of familiar names buzzing all over the comments. So yeah, thanks so much for joining, everybody, and see you next time.
See you guys.